And technically we are officially live. Got the new stream set up, green screen behind me, so hopefully, I don't know if you guys will enjoy the setup a little bit more, but the main thing is that I can just give the news in as visually pleasing way as possible, so I hope to do so. Guys, we've got a bit of an emergency meeting here. Is it about Apple? No. Is it about Microsoft? No. Is it about Google? No. Actually, wait, I've already got it in the title of the video. You all know what this stream's about. It's about Nvidia. Nvidia has crept up not so slowly into being the top 5 biggest stocks in the world. The top 5, only 5 companies, USA companies in the $1 trillion mark, and that is Nvidia, Amazon, Alphabet, Microsoft, and Apple. And so FANG is no more. It's no longer, it used to be Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, and Alphabet. Now it's MANGA, which is Microsoft, Apple, Nvidia, and Alphabet, and Amazon. This is the new FANG is MANGA. Now, what's happened to Nvidia? Because why, prior to this, Nvidia has just been going up and up and up. In fact, if you invested $10,000 a decade ago into Nvidia, it would now be worth $1,190,000. That's the second most. Only beating that is Bitcoin, which obviously had just gone crazy over the past 10 years. So it's been a good investment over the prior 10 years. But what's happening to it now? It's this company that sells these amazing graphics processing units, GPUs, these chips that can be used in gaming. All of the gamers know about Nvidia. Delivers this powerful technology to give those graphics that... I'm not a gamer, by the way. The last time I gamed was 2011 FIFA, and I stopped gaming because I got too addicted. But these chips are integral to gaming, and what's the new thing they're integral to is AI, artificial intelligence, and this is the chip that powers ChatGPT. ChatGPT, this thing where you can just type in the system, you can just type in a question that you have and it'll give you the answer and it'll write essays for you. This crazy technology that no one expected. It just came out of nowhere. This is needed for ChatGPT. This is the brain behind ChatGPT. This is a big reason why Nvidia is a $1 trillion company. But what's happened to it? Why are Nvidia shares now just collapsing? Let's just see what this company does a little bit.
Is what hundreds of millions of gamers in the world plays on. It's a GeForce. This is the chip that's inside.
For nearly 30 years, Nvidia's chips have been coveted by gamers, shaping what's possible in graphics and dominating the entire market since it first popularized the term graphics processing unit with the GeForce 256. Now, its chips are powering something entirely different.
ChatGPT has started a very intense conversation.
She thinks it's the most revolutionary. He thinks it's the iPhone.
Venture capital interest in AI startups has skyrocketed.
All of us working in this field have been optimistic that at some point the broader world would understand the importance of this technology. And it's actually really exciting that that's starting to happen.
As the engine behind large language models like ChatGPT, Nvidia is finally reaping rewards for its investment in AI.
So as you heard, they're the engine behind ChatGPT, the brain, the power that's needed for ChatGPT. And so what is ChatGPT? They're a USA company, USA artificial intelligence company. But there's another country that wants to get into this AI market, that wants to learn the technology behind these amazing chips, that wants to buy chips and already does buy a lot of chips. And that is China. And there's now come a problem because the USA and China, they don't really like each other that much. They're in strong competition, and this is why we've seen the stock starting to collapse. So how much have they collapsed by? What exactly is going on? Nvidia stock, as you can see, this is just a 5-day thing, but look, October the 16th, $460, and now down 5.9% to $434 a share. So why have they collapsed? They might collapse by a lot more because of this news. I don't know for sure, but so what was it? 5.9%. What's 5.9% of a $1 trillion company? That's $59 billion they've collapsed. Why? Go to Gachavin, He's quite good for just getting the news of what's going on in the stock market. Just in, US restricts sale of new Nvidia chips to China. These chips were specially made by Nvidia to bypass US sanctions. So the US have come in and said, you're selling all these chips to China. No, you can't do this anymore. Let's go a bit more into why. Nvidia stock falls after US announces new restrictions on AI chip exports. Nvidia and a number of other AI chip companies saw their shares fall Tuesday morning due to new US export restrictions on China. These are a step up from previously announced export restrictions from the Biden administration. Nvidia has said that the company does not expect an immediate material financial hit. This is a big one because this is big for for long-term investors, fundamental investors, and value investors. However, it does expect a long-term dip in sales. Shares of the chip stocks have boomed in the last year due to the increased demand for AI products and services, which is powered by AI chips, which Nvidia make. The new restrictions on exports to China are a step up from the previous announced restrictions on artificial intelligence chips. Nvidia is down. The new restrictions ban the sale of the slowed down version of Nvidia chips. So I believe they're selling a slowed down, not the top Nvidia chips to China, because the USA said, well, no, you can't sell our top chips because we all know what China's going to do with them. They're just going to copy the technology. We all know why China want these chips. So they banned, the top down version, but now they've banned the sale of the slowed down version of Nvidia chips. The H800 and the A800 that were allowed to be exported to China under the old restrictions. The updates are specifically designed to control access to computing power, which will significantly slow the PRC's development of next-gen... PRC is the People's Republic of China, which will significantly slow China's development of next-generation frontier model and could be leveraged in ways that threaten the US and our allies, especially because they could be used for military uses and modernization. Who knows what China would do if they got all of this access to AI technology, and it would make them even more powerful, and they don't exactly have a great reputation of being the most moral actors. So that's why the US have banned it. And, if you just think about it from the US perspective, it's kind of fair enough. I mean, how much technology have China copied from the USA before? It's been ridiculous what they've done over the past sort of 10 years. I wrote it down, electric cars, Tesla were developing these amazing electric cars. China said, come on into our country. Yes, Tesla, come on in. And then next minute, BYD, they come up with their car company that's doing very well now, BYD. Search engine, Google, they went into China, and then Google got completely banned from China, basically completely banned, and then all of a sudden China have this new search engine, Baidu. Smartphones, they've copied smartphones. Apple, now we've got Huawei. We just develop sort of cheaper versions of Apple, but we've kind of copied the technology. So USA, they've learned their lesson. Hey, we don't really want to give you all our top class technology that we've spent all of this money and years of research to try and develop this, and you've just come and copied us for a 10th, a 20th of the price. It's not really fair. And so I think that it's fair enough that the USA are saying, hey, well, to these top tier technology companies, you can't give away your technology to China, where they're not doing any of the R&D, they're just copying us. Now, so let's just read this last bit. Nvidia believes that the increased restrictions will not immediately lead to a material effect on its financial performance. However, the company expects a loss in sales in the longer term, according to a statement from August. So yeah, the problem is, okay, you might say it's fair enough from the USA government, but for anyone who holds Nvidia stock, this is a pretty important issue. Now, I just want to make a quick disclaimer. I do not own any Nvidia stock, not one share. I am extremely curious about the company. I would love to own, some stock at some point, at the right price, at the right point in time. At this point in time, I don't own any shares in Nvidia. And yeah, this is really important, this news, because Nvidia make so many sales to China. Look, this is 2022. 26% of their total sales was to China. So now they have to sell these. Before they were allowed to sell these lower tier chips to China, and now they can't even sell them. So I don't know how much this is going to impact Nvidia long term. To what extent, I don't know, but this is a large percentage of their revenue, 26%. And then 31% is from Taiwan. And then we all know the Taiwan-China situation. Is China going to take over Taiwan? How much influence does China have over Taiwan? We don't really know. So 26% of their revenue plus 31%, that's 57%. That's both of those combined is more than half of their revenue. So this is big. This is big news. And so the government can play a very important role on Nvidia's future revenue. In an effort to curb the country's military development and slow its artificial intelligence progress. As I say, I don't want to know what China will do if they have all the control over AI. We know that, the USA at least like thinking about putting certain restrictions in place and doing things safely and in a proper manner. They had that meeting where Elon Musk got involved, and I trust the USA a lot more than China. Right now it seems that USA are leading in terms of AI with the likes of Nvidia, with the likes of ChatGPT, but China, they want a piece of this. They got a piece of electric vehicles. They already did that. They got a piece of smartphones. Now they want AI is the new thing. They got a piece of the internet. They don't want to stop there. They want AI. USA are the leaders. They want to learn from the USA and copy them. But now finally the government's getting involved. Yeah, as I say, guys, I don't know how much this is going to impact the overall sales of Nvidia. I'd like to know, but I guess that's something that we're going to see over time. With development and guiding missiles, the AI. So the Biden administration is concerned that China's access to advanced chips could help the Chinese military with development and guiding missiles and surveillance systems, according to the New York Times. Robin Li, founder of Chinese tech company Baidu, recently said at an event in Beijing that the company's largest language model, Ernie Bot, why they call it Ernie Bot, is as good as OpenAI's latest GPT-4 model. Really? Ernie Bot is as good as ChatGPT-4? I'm not sure if I believe you, Baidu, especially because obviously you've banned Google, and so you won against Google, but yeah, you won that from banning them. The Biden administration previously released similar restrictions against China to slow its supercomputing and military technology capabilities in October 2022. The new restrictions are an attempt to close loopholes in last year's restrictions. And so yeah, they had these loopholes where they were, still selling a lot to China, but they were sort of mixing and matching the top tier GPUs and chips with other things. So they were just, they found loopholes to still sell a lot to China. But the rules will likely be updated at least annually. US chip makers that sell to China will take a revenue hit from the restrictions. Yeah, but to what extent though? That's the question, especially because China is such a big buyer of these chips, and some counts on Chinese buyers for up to a third of earnings. Yeah, like Nvidia, basically. The world's top chip makers, Nvidia and Intel and Qualcomm, have been lobbying the US government for months against restrictions on China. Of course they've been lobbying. How much money do they make from China? Billions and billions of dollars of sales. Of course they want to keep selling to China, but is it good from a sort of overall world, how the world is run perspective and power perspective? That's why the USA are doing it. Saying it would harm business, but also help China improve its own chip industry to compete with the US. I don't know. I think the thing that would help China the most is if they get their hands on Nvidia's technology, and then they can copy it. They said, we recognize the need to protect national security and believe maintaining a healthy US semiconductor industry is an essential component to achieving that goal, the Semiconductor Industry Association said in a statement to the New York Times. Overly broad unilateral control risks harming the US semiconductor ecosystem without advancing national security. Anyway, as they encourage overseas customers to look elsewhere. So anyway, the US have gone ahead and done so. Stocks have fallen quite a bit, But the question is, just from a fundamental perspective, how much are these going to slow sales to China, which is such a major point of revenue for Nvidia. Right now, the market's said, okay, it's down 5.9%, but long term, from a value perspective, how much less sales are they going to make? That's the question. Funnily enough, Nancy Pelosi, she managed to sell her shares perfectly. She sold on July the 27th. She swiftly offloaded her entire amount of shares, 25,000 Nvidia shares on July the 27th. So she probably had some, potentially, I don't want to make any accusations, but yeah, I think we all know why she sold. She probably had some early information, and that's the beauty of being a congresswoman, I guess. But that's all I wanted to come on and say, guys. I hope that it doesn't fundamentally affect Nvidia too much. I mean, they were doing so well in terms of revenue and sales previously, but if the USA continue to ban certain things, certain sales to China, then it really is going to affect their revenue. If this internet will load properly, I can have a look at look how well they did. Just 3 years ago, $10 billion in revenue. Now, $26 billion. $2.8 billion in earnings to $4.3. Actually, in 2022, they did $9.7 billion. So they're doing so well. It has slowed down a bit, and who knows how much more it might potentially slow down with these certain rules coming into place. Especially because Nvidia's priced to grow. You're paying a PE ratio of 106, so you need their earnings to grow by a lot. 15%, 20%. You need them to achieve that high growth. So if their growth does start to stifle, then I don't know. It might end it might not be a good share to own. So right now the shares are $440. Aswa Damadorian thinks they're more worth around $240. As I say, I don't own any shares right now. I don't want to own at this price here, especially with these types of news coming into place. But I'm still playing it by ear. Guys, I'll keep you updated if I get any other news. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. And I might come live on Tesla's earnings tomorrow. Maybe. Because I know a lot of people cover Tesla anyway. So do I really need to do another live on Tesla stock? Maybe I don't. But I'll play it by ear. Thanks for watching, everyone. And good luck to all of those Nvidia shareholders.